Freewing 90mm F-18. We just reworked the radio and adjusted the wing wiring harnesses so I can add full span flaps and Tailerons. For testing purposes, I currently have 5 modes set up on the radio. One with just all normal control surfaces with flaps. And then I have one that keeps the standard control surfaces, but puts in flaperons, which I'm not expecting this to work all that well with roll authority, so definitely a high test. Next flight mode is the same on that, but it adds in the Tailerons to give more control for that. Next mode is a little experiment, we'll say. Still has the Tailerons, but it changes the Ailerons to be spoilers instead of flaperons. Probably crow a little bit or something. It still has Tailerons there, and because I was being symmetric, I had that same thing without Taileron settings, which that just seems like a bad idea. At least while the flaps are down, because without the flaps down, it's the same as everything else. The radio setup in here, I've removed the blue box for everything except lighting control. So it's shoved down way underneath the tray. In front of that, I have the integrated brake controller for the new brakes, the JP heavy brakes I put in. And then in front of that, I have the FrSky S8R under the deck here. And then it has antennas coming out the front along with the connectors for GPS and my LiPo sensor. On the adapter here, since I run T90 and having that a little bit extra length was there, so that's why I didn't just swap out this connector. There was already a tap in there for the BEC. On mine, I added another tap plug, little JST plug, and from there I have it tapped to go to the brake controller at full battery voltage, and I have a tap to go that goes through a voltage regulator to drop it down to 9 volts. That is running to the RC Geek center burner controller for the multi-burner that's in the back. So while I had it open, one of the other things I added was that Asan AG63 braking and steering gyro. So with that also comes the new wheels, which yes are a bit heavy, but we'll see how it actually does for everything else. Got those wired in and routed everything in. And then I was playing a little bit with the radio settings. One of the things I did was I added a time slowness on the brakes. So that, as you can see on channel 8 here, which I have up on this right slider switch, currently they're off. If I flip it to all the way on, it gives a nice slow gradual instead of just a snap, which it's supposed to have non-skid. It still just feels like it's a little abrupt. So right now that looks like if I do that, and now it's locked over there. Let me try that again where I can see that. So still locked, unlocked. The wheel's spinning. Slide the switch. And there it finally caught up to catch it. 2 things, and to keep me from hitting this switch, having it engage the brakes in the air, there is a 1-minute timeout to keep things from overheating and burn stuff up. But why even take that part of the risk? So 2 things need to happen for the brakes to actually engage. 1, the gear need to be down, and 2, the throttle needs to be down. I accomplished this with, in my model settings, I've got a logical switch saying if the throttle is at -80 or less, turn on the switch. And I have to have SF, which is my gear, has to be up. If that's the case, then logical switch 1 is enacted. Then I'd have a special function that says if logical switch 1 is off, the exclamation point, then channel 8 is negative 100, which is fully disengaged, no brakes. So, if logical switch 1 is off, that channel can only be at a negative 100. Okay, so now I've got the throttle lock off. I'm going to hold the plane, bring the throttle up, turn on the brakes, give the wheel a spin, shut the throttle off. And once the throttle is down, we should then get the brake controller over, which should get that started. So, start with getting some lovely speed going on those wheels. There goes and locks them in. So we'll see if that's actually useful at the field or not.